Right. The Lorenz diagram. It's a diagram that shows you the difference between the percentage of income between the population and how much percentage of the income that they make.
In an ideal society, it would be perfectly distributed and is represented by the line of equality here. It should be perfectly straight diagonal line at 45 degrees, but well, we didn't draw it that way because we're not perfect.
Yeah, it should start at the zero and it should intersect at every single point. The same applies somewhat to the actual dotted line. This line represents the
It's the Lorenz curve.
It's the Lorenz curve. It represents a specific economy. It could be a country, a state, whatever. But it represents what percentage of the population holds that percentage of income. You can see that it also starts at 0 and 100 and ends at 100, but it differs as it's a much more exponential kind of graph, where it slowly increases, showing the inequality.
So then related here, you have the Gini coefficient, which is calculated when you take this area A, the area between the line of equality and the Lorenz curve, and then you divide A by A plus B, which is the total area. So, and that gives you an index that represents how unequal the distribution of income is. So the closer to 1 it is, the more we can say the more unequal a society is, and the closer to 0, the closer to complete equality is.
The reasoning being, the smaller this A area is, the closer it gets to 0, meaning that there's less of a difference between the two. The closer it is to 1 means it's the entire area that's being taken up, where it's much more like it would follow this entire line and then sharply jump up, saying like one person holds all the wealth. Another important thing to note is you could theoretically draw the line like this, but the reason why you don't is because it seems a bit counterintuitive, because you would be starting at the percentage of the population that holds more wealth and then being leveling off. You could, but it's much more impractical and it doesn't help you calculate the Gini coefficient.
And generally you interpret this as going from the least wealthy to most wealthy.
I think that's good. Now, how would you increase or decrease inequality? Well, one way you could increase inequality would be to do a regressive tax. A regressive tax would be something that more disproportionately affects people on the lower side of the income bracket. The inverse of that would be the progressive tax, which would mainly target taxing the higher percentages, focusing on, say, the wealthy. Maybe an example of a progressive tax would be a sales tax, and an example of a progressive tax would be an income tax. Additionally, there's other ways you can improve upon inequality, such as providing aid to specific groups, such as providing training to unskilled laborers and etc., and similar things.